to introduce him before you. Sri Ashwini Mehra is in charge of training, human resources, organizational structure and overall administration, including legal and estate management of the bank. Sri Ashwini Mehra is a career banker with more than 3 decades of experience with the State Bank of India, India's largest commercial bank. He joined the bank as a probationary officer in the year 1979 and has held various important assignments during the span of his career so far. Sri Ashwini Mehra graduated with honours in economics from St. Stephen's College, Delhi University, and completed his masters in the same subject from the Delhi School of Economics. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, as I request Mr. Ashwini Mehra, Deputy Managing Director and Corporate Development Officer of State Bank of India, to come onto the dais and take the stage. Sir.
A very good evening to all of you. I'm sure it's been a long day and we are actually towards the close of the session, but as I was seeing the program today, I think at the end of the day today, you have a rather interesting session with Mr. Anupam Kher, with whom I traveled this morning from Mumbai. Essentially, as I was introduced, I head the second largest organization in terms of the number of personnel who are there after the railways. We are probably the largest organization. We have almost about 2,15,000 odd employees in various categories. And it's my job to look after all these human assets that we have in this organization and see how effectively we can utilize them for the growth of this organization. And while doing this task, in terms of whatever we've been also trying to do within the bank, we found that in fact the technology aspect of HR is becoming more and more important, and HR is now actually at the epicenter of a massive change that is sweeping the businesses across markets. And that's the impression we got, and we delved quite a lot into this topic, and we thought that we'll give you a flavor of about 4 major aspects that I could cover in my talk today. The first is that there is a big realization amongst most of the business leaders that there is a need to move away from working in silos into a more collaborative mode. That's one. Second one is that the social media itself represents a huge opportunity for talent acquisition, though it's still rather unutilized. A third aspect that I would cover during my talk to you would be the emergence of big data in trying to open up interesting avenues for HR in terms of talent acquisition, in terms of retention, in terms of promotional avenues for the human resources. And lastly, I'd like to also talk about the importance of using technology in this connected world, particularly in the e-learning mode in the organizations. And this is also taking shape in a very big way, though it may not actually be translating into people doing certification programs only through the e-learning mode. Now, coming to the first aspect of the realization that we need to move away from silos, we felt that HR is a function where the responsibility for deliverables having been listed out, the employees today are expecting new modes of delivery for all these services. There is a departure from the past which is experienced in terms of the speed, the scale, and the necessity to adapt to the changing dynamics in the workplace. And the new age companies, in fact, I have an example of a company called Spotify. It's actually a digital music service in the US, which is creating an absolutely new paradigm in HR. And this is essentially breaking down those silos and organizing small teams. You could call them squads or tribes. And each of these squads is actually a self-sufficient multidisciplinary team with the IT and business jointly represented in that team. They function basically as mini startups with full autonomy, and each squad is armed with enough skilled power to ensure that they have the tools as well as the knowledge to deliver on the mission that the organization has. And quite interestingly, I learned that there are some banks in Europe which are now following suit and trying to adopt this model for their own internal setups. The world is actually also seeing a rise in the use of new enterprise collaboration channels. You have WhatsApp and Slack, HipChat, etc. Though we find that there are certain organizations where this is quite effectively used across geographies and across teams to enable decision making. Within the bank, we are a little careful about it, and we ensure that we don't use it for any market sensitive or business information. It's more used for sort of conveying our ideas on broad environmental factors that are influencing the banking system in the ecosystem. We don't really get down to decision making using these as was indicated in the previous session. There is nothing really very private on these, and therefore we try to only use the intranet for those types of communications. And the key to capturing the benefits of a very highly collaborative social workforce is in actually integrating these social technologies into certain processes which can help people to communicate more effectively without actually impacting the information required to be spilled over onto the markets for any sort of the environment taking advantage of anything which they could learn from the organization in that regard. The social media actually represents a huge new source for talent acquisition, and we find that there is actually a huge passive candidates market which is now being targeted, and LinkedIn is, I'm sure all of you would be aware, one of the sites which is used quite effectively by the headhunters, and we have examples of a number of organizations which have very actively used this. In fact, going one step ahead, if you look at Facebook, and there are almost about, the size of the Facebook community is more than 10 times of what it is on LinkedIn. And they have almost, about 1/3 of the people there have also put in their profiles, etc., which could also work out to be a big source for people to actually extract data and try and spot the talent that they require for the organizations that they're hunting talent for. And this could actually help in the quality of talent identification that these organizations could work for. The emergence of big data, in fact, as I was mentioning, has opened up a lot of avenues in terms of acquiring talent, as well as in trying to groom them, retain them, as well as providing them with avenues for promotion within the organization. And the data analytics is one area which is receiving a lot of attention across banks in trying to ensure that they use these analytics, particularly in HR. In fact, Google is a good example where they have an analytics division in their HR department to look at how they can use that to spot the talent as well as groom them for senior positions as well as for their internal succession planning. In fact, this is one avenue which they feel is also very, very useful in trying to grow the business by trying to ensure that they have identified the right people for the right jobs, and they are able to maximize the productivity from the people who have been slotted to the particular positions where they are able to contribute to the maximum. The last point that I had was essentially regarding the increasingly connected world, and this having an impact on the way people have been trying to gain knowledge. And there is a whole new industry which is coming up in the online learning, and it's taking shape. There is a lot of efficacy which we find in, apart from actually formal degrees being given, through these online courses, but there is a lot which can be done for employee development using these online either websites or even mobile apps, which can help people to acquire the knowledge that they need to maximize their contribution to the organization. There is increasing use of webinars, e-learning, video blogs, etc. And within State Bank of India also we have been actively employing these e-learning mode to try and develop the talent pool that we have, apart from the strong institutional training setup that we run. The mobile-based training is another area that we are actively looking at, and there is a growing penetration, obviously, of the mobile in terms of and the smartphones, and utilizing these mobile training is going to become, to our mind, a major trend in not only web-based solutions but also in the mobile learning apps. So we feel that this is another area that the banks would need to concentrate on if they have to develop the talent pool that they have. And it is, at this juncture very important that HR reflects upon how they adopt this technology and use it to draft the right people, and also come up with strategies which can help the organization work in close coordination with the IT and ensure that the maximum use of technology is done to maximize the benefits which can be there from various HR initiatives. In order to realize the full potential of the digital power, also the HR actually heads need to build a very, very collaborative sort of an arrangement with the IT in each of the organizations, and these the digital teams can use a number of these HR cases, etc., to try and see how the use of apps can actually also add value to their employees and identify the right application for the HR needs. In summary, basically, no longer is HR considered to be a supporting player. It has to assume the role of a strategic partner in the growth of business. In fact, it's almost like one CHRO had mentioned in a social media company. In fact, he said that HR is now the ignition of the innovation engine, and he in fact indicated that it has, it's going to be a very, very important aspect, because most of the developments which are now taking place in the economies are concentrating on large use of manpower, and they're all asset-light organizations which we find across the businesses. The HR has to craft its own vision and of how the people and the organization will use the strategy which the organization has in trying to maximize the achievement of the goals which have been set out, and they must actually also ensure that they have their finger on the dynamics of the company as well as of the industry, and they should be able to anticipate a whole lot of change which is happening, so that they are able to account for that change in terms of their own HR profiling within the organization, and have manpower which is ready to take on the challenges as they come. In fact, the pace of change is also so rapid that it's almost like being on the whitewater rapids, and one needs to ensure that you are able to feel that the changes as they happen, anticipate them, get your manpower ready to maximize whatever they need to make their contribution to the organization. Within State Bank of India, we have actually what we call a project Saksham, we call it, and we have taken a large number of initiatives where the use of technology has been there in a very big way. What we've done is basically the key responsibility areas for each and every one have been drilled down right up to the last employee in the organization. They've been given, either they've been categorized into budgetary assignments, operational assignments, or other types. Some of them are basically supportive assignments where you can't really classify them either as budgetary or operational. And the system itself that we use, our HRMS, is throwing up the marks which these people score on the parameters in terms of the KRAs which have been given to them, and they're put onto almost a bell curve sort of a situation where we are able to identify who are the outliers and who are the ones who are laggards, and what do we do with the laggards. And we are using these basically for our own talent management, trying to ensure people getting into the right type of assignments. We are also using beyond talent management into a succession planning mode also, on trying to identify those people whom we can use and groom them with training, etc., into roles which are going to become more and more important for them over a period of time, and for the organization to have the right the adequate availability of talent for the positions which are coming up. This succession planning is something that we are taking very, very seriously, despite the fact that we are a large organization and we'd invariably so far been able to find talent to manage the senior positions in the organization, but it's never really been done in a structured manner. And this is the first time that we have actually embarked on this, where technology is the centerpiece of whatever we are doing, and we are trying to remove the subjective element in whatever we do in the HR field to the extent possible. It can't be ruled out totally, but it can be minimized to a large extent, and that is what we've been trying to do. I do hope to see the initial signs are very encouraging, and I do hope that we'll be able to make that change in the HR in an organization the size of State Bank of India. And definitely, we will be, I consider, one of the organizations, at least among the public sector banks as I see it from my exchanges with the other organizations, at the helm of bringing about the change in which HR is looked at in this connected world. I just thought I'll share a few thoughts with you late in the evening, I know, but just to leave these thoughts with you, I thought I'll mention some of the major areas that we have been focusing on and what we are trying to achieve within the organization. I thank you all very much for this opportunity, as well as to the organizers for having me over this evening. Thank you very much.
You mentioned about integrating some social media kind of environment along with the business processes. How are you doing it exactly?
Actually, for example, we formed a social media group just for the deputy managing directors and above. But the sort of exchanges that we have over there are not connected at all to the specifics of what's happening within the bank. We might have some exchange about certain interesting initiatives. For example, I'll share about some HR initiative which I found has been taken somewhere else. Similarly, the chairman comes back to us, if she's gone abroad and she's had some experience somewhere, about, or some information which she found very interesting, worth sharing. So all that comes onto the site, and we are basically trying to keep ourselves, abreast with whatever is happening in the ecosystem, just to make sure that we are all, that much well informed, because we find that a very convenient way in which we can communicate with each other. But very discreetly, we've kept out any sort of decision making in this aspect, and we make sure that that is done only through the intranet that we have in the organization, and no outside mails are also permitted on that. Yeah, I can.
Bank of India.
Yes, sir.
Is there any initiative being taken to create customer orientation amongst your employees?
We have actually quite a few initiatives. One is, we have what is known as a Customer Experience Excellence Program, which we are running right now, where we are trying to sort of streamline the way the functioning of the branch is, so that, the workflow is such that nobody really needs to move from one counter to another, and they're able to get their entire work done at one place itself. That is one of the things. Other than that, there is a softer aspect which, we feel very, very important to bring into a service organization. And we have engaged with about 4 well-renowned agencies for soft skills programs. So what happens is, at each, whenever we have a fresh recruitment, either of our clerical staff or of the probationary officers and trainee officers, we make sure that we spend at least one day in that program giving them some inputs on the soft skills. And this gets repeated actually in their subsequent trainings also. And there is, even at the middle management level, there is a fair amount of inputs being given on negotiation skills, on how to, the customer interaction, how do we, go ahead and ensure that, the responses that we are giving are, not only based on your own work area. If there is something which is beyond that, what is the source on which, you can look for giving him that information, or how can you direct that person to, get his job done. So there's a fair amount of structured training, institutional training which is being done right now. And we have roughly about, as I was mentioning about the e-learning, there are possibly about 478 odd courses on various topics, including there are about 10 topics covered only covering the development of soft skills and how to improve the quality of customer interaction. We are also trying to ensure, because we find that this slogan that we have, the banker to every Indian, we have a number of situations where a whole lot of branches remain overcrowded. And we are grappling with this problem of trying to make sure that people have access to the frontline staff in a much easier manner, and how do we wean away a lot of the traffic which can, for the business which can be done on our machines. So there's a whole lot of, alternate channels which we are developing in terms of our cash deposit machines, in terms of our passbook updation machines, in terms of the ATMs, etc. are all there, but there are the self-service kiosks and a number of other initiatives whereby we are encouraging people to move on to those and try and do their transactions on that. In fact, once in a while on the use of our debit cards, etc., we have a very strong loyalty rewards program also, if people are using these cards actually to make their bill payments, etc., and they don't need to draw on cash. Because cash, we find, is one of the things which bogs down State Bank of India in a very, very large way, because we, being the currency chest custodians for the Reserve Bank of India in most of the majority of the districts, we find that the stress on cash management is tremendous. And how do we try and reduce that? Because this is also something which is very, very costly for the economy. So a whole lot of other initiatives apart from the alternate channels, the internet banking, etc. We are also taking on the soft skill development, as well as trying to, as I was mentioning, the course that, this program that we are running, the SEEP program as we call it, essentially to make sure that the customer delivery is definitely, of a very high order. We are seeing, we've done that in about 4,000 of our branches. We need to cover almost over 16,000 branches. Gradually, we propose to actually find some champions who will take these to the other branches and then carry it forward. Hopefully, our major branches, which do almost 90% of the business, we should be able to cover over the next 1 year. Thank you.
As the current head of the 250,000 odd group, there is the challenge of SC/ST. I'm sure at the
challenge of
SC/ST candidates, that you have a quota for them. Then there is a challenge of candidates referred to by MPs, MLAs, and all kinds of pressure groups. In the midst of this, how do you manage to keep your bank aggressive? Which I must compliment you. Your bank has become quite aggressive, because I am banking with you, I am banking with HDFC, I am banking with ICICI Bank, and your bank is in no way less aggressive. But that SC/ST kind of attitude is still prevailing. Somehow that the ecosystem, the moment you enter an SBI and the moment you enter an HDFC, that somehow that ecosystem is not the same. So this is a major threat, I think, to your office.
I'll actually, the SC/ST is, I think, a very unfair sort of for maybe some of us over here. But anyway, taking your point that, we are having to take people who are being given certain grace marks and therefore being taken into the organization. While we have that, I think it's a very small percentage. And I can tell you also that many of them are doing very well. In fact, the other day we had gone for a parliamentary committee meeting on the other backward castes, and we actually found, our data indicated that we had been getting almost about 1.5 times the number of candidates that we are supposed to take as per that. So those OBCs are actually eating into the general quota also. They're that good. So I would think that, in the sort of organization that we are in, and the sort of generation, which is now coming into the bank, the tech-savvy skills, etc., that they have, we don't face much of a challenge as far as this category of candidates who make it to the bank are concerned. More of a challenge is basically on how do we try to, ensure that, as the other gentleman had asked about, making sure that the atmosphere is very conducive for people to come and do their banking. And as you had yourself put it, that, when you enter a particular branch of State Bank of India, the look and feel is very different from what you find, in any other bank. But I can assure you that you would have seen for yourself also that the State Bank of India branches, from what they used to be 10, 12 years back, are today a totally different lot. And I also, apart from the HR work that I look at, I am also in charge of the real estate inventory of the bank, both the leased as well as the owned properties. And one of the things that we are doing is standardizing the look and design of our branches. There are 4 categories basically depending on the size and the nature of the branch, which we are trying to bring in a standardized model, which again, in keeping with the customer excellence program, will ensure that people get a very, very different feel when they come to the. It's an evolving matter. Not that I can tell you tomorrow it's going to happen or something like that. But yes, there is a definite move towards that, and we will definitely get there. As you are aware, whatever we put our mind to, State Bank of India has always managed to do that, and I think even the private sector banks actually do acknowledge that. That once we make up our mind to do something, we are very much, ahead of the market. The other one aspect is that, there are lots of pressures that we have. And let me tell you that we are a very democratic organization. The pulls and pressures within the organization are not really something that matter. If I have an interest in somebody and I indicate and that person doesn't actually make it to wherever he is required to, it is not held against me that, you have not done me this favor or anything like that. But quite surprisingly, and this was an initiative again taken by our chairman, there was this Gyan Sangam which was held in Pune last year with the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister and the other bureaucracy of the Finance Ministry. And we had said that there should be no political or administrative pressure on us for transfers or appointments or anything like that. And this got documented over there, and the Prime Minister Modi was at the forefront of saying that yes, this has to be this has to be accepted in toto, and I don't want any messages or anything like that going. In fact, on my next visit to the office of the Finance Ministry, where the Secretary for Defense and Financial Services sits, I found that there was a notice in the waiting lounge that please do not request anybody in this office for a posting or an appointment in any of the banks. So that is the way, we have moved ahead. I think we have to look at the future much more optimistically. People are realizing that, merit has to count and it has to be given its due. I'm sure, your experience with the bank will only improve in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Ashwini Mehra. May I request Mr. D.D. Prakash, the Managing Director and CEO, ABP Private Limited, and Chairman Infocom, to kindly come onto the dais and present a memento to Mr. Ashwini Mehra.